It is us. We are here. It is now. It is the Fight IQ UFC 321 podcast, headlined, of course, by the return of the finally undisputed heavyweight champion, Tom Aspinall, taking on Ciryl Gane. Co-main event, also a title fight, the strawweight championship. The vacant strawweight championship is going to be contested between Mackenzie Dern and Virna Jandiroba. I am Chris Olson. I am your host for this evening. We're going to break down every fight on the 13-fight slate. With me, as always, is Joe Sunzu and Drake, never a burden. And I'm going to pass it over to you fellas to get your thoughts on the card. Just a little overview. We talked a little bit when I came in. I actually think this is the best card, pay-per-view or otherwise, we've seen all year, maybe even a little bit before that, just in terms of overall consistency. You go down the slate, there's not too much slop here in the prelims, and even on most recent pay-per-view cards, they would find a little bit of filler. There's a little bit of that, but not too much. So I am excited about it from a fan standpoint. From a DFS and betting standpoint, I like quite a few underdogs, which we will get into, and a lot of betting opportunities down the slate. So I will kick it over to you guys, and let's start with you, Joe. Joe, how are you looking at this slate? How are you seeing it? What are your early reads in terms of how to build lineups, and what kind of bets are you looking at?
Well, it's kind of interesting because what I heard initially was that people think that this is a favorite heavy card. You know, on paper, so I'm really curious to know, because we have not had any conversations at all before jumping on here, unless you and Drake had. I mean, I jumped on 2 minutes before 8, so
yeah, me Drake a little bit. Yeah, Joe is perpetually late. For those
yeah, but I was actually on time. I just kind of got right in on time. So you know, like, look, I like in the main card, I like most of the favorites with one possible exception. I think the key here is in betting is maybe trying to figure out not so much on the side, but like taking the side and looking at how the side is going to ultimately win the fight. Because that's how you're going to get some leverage. There's a couple of dogs here that I might like, but I see this as a favorite heavy card. I see this as potentially a difficult card for DFS, unless you really feel good about someone in the lower echelon of price points and how you're going to build lineups around that. I mean, I honestly liked even though I didn't do great in DFS, I liked last week's card better, I think, at least on paper. And in terms of the overall quality of the card, I would agree with you, Chris, on paper. It's probably one of the better cards of the year, but let's see how it plays out. I have a sneaking suspicion that it's not going to play out as well as it looks on paper. It's not going to be one of those cards like we had a few weeks ago where you get all the finishes and you really legitimately have a hard time determining who's winning those fight bonuses.
Yeah. Joey, how you doing, buddy? Thank you so much for hanging out. And I agree. The only thing I wanted to say about the dogs is, you know, there's a lot of these scenarios where it's, like you said, maybe even if you're not picking the dog, I feel like, I mean, we try to be as, forceful about our picks and put as much conviction as possible. But I feel like this is a card where you have to leave a lot of space for, but the dog has a path, and here it is. I feel like there are quite a few fights like that. A lot of closely lined fights on this card. I think there's even one fight, we'll get into it, where both fighters are 8,100. I don't think that was even a late replacement fight. I think that's just how it shook out. So there's a lot of closely lined fights, close prices that are going to make for some really intriguing builds, I think. But we're going to turn over to Drake now. Drake, what about you? How are you seeing this card in general, and just some overview about how to build lineups or how to go about betting?
Yeah, so I feel a little more excited about it. As we talked about, there's really only one fight that I'm not overly excited for. It's basically because of one specific fighter.
Yeah.
But, overall, I actually like this card quite a bit for both purposes, betting and DFS. I am probably going to be a little stronger, as usual, feeling on a few of these fights than you guys. And, I'm usually right, so it's okay.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, I really like this card. I think this is gonna be a lot of fun. I think there's gonna be a lot of finishes. We could have a lot of, I actually think this could be a bloodier card too. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it as well. But
let me ask you guys a question before we go on. This is to either one of you guys.
Yeah.
Without using Google help, what do you think Tom Aspinall's net worth is?
His net worth?
Yeah, there's a method to my question. I'm not just bringing this up as a.
What do you mean? Like how much he's made for fun? Like I don't know.
What is his net worth? What is his net worth? How much is he worth?
I don't know.
$100,000.
No, he's worth $3 million. But here's the thing, right? That's low, right? But here's the thing: John Jones retiring literally cost him $10 million. Like easily $10 million because that was a $10 million fight, right? With pay-per-view points, John Jones always draws. John Jones retires. So now he hasn't fought since July of 2024. He's been off. So he has got to make a point here. And we'll talk about the fight when we get to it. But like, you haven't had any income other than what you get from endorsements, which again, the UFC now controls a lot of endorsements, especially around apparel. Right. So he has got to be really hungry coming into this fight. And that's just what I wanted to point out, which is, I think, is one of the more intriguing things that no one is looking at on how he literally lost, or it literally cost him $10 million by John Jones retiring. Because honestly, I thought he would have beat John Jones at this stage in their respective careers.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you looked at that Stipe fight and thought Jones could beat any top tier heavyweight, I think you are kidding yourself. I mean, I think if Tom Aspinall faced that Stipe Miocic, the fight would have gotten the inside a minute bonus. I mean, so that's the kind of fight you're looking at. It took John 2.5 rounds, and he arguably lost one of them. So definitely not a good look. I agree that it hurts the division overall, but at the same time, the division just had to get going. I mean, it was just so stuck in the mud, and now at least we can go on, get some fights. Well, I will say, and we'll get to this a little bit too, that Ciryl Gane has no business being here. If anything, it should be Alexander Volkov, who is also on this card. Ciryl Gane just, keep lucking into these title fights despite what happens. But we will get to it and his chances as well. But we're going to get to the card. Before we do that, we took a little bit of a detour there, but I did want to say that if you're interested in signing up for RotoWire, we got everything going on. World Series DFS still happening. Football's in the thick of it. Basketball's underway. All that stuff. You want to subscribe to RotoWire right now. Check out all that content. YouTube 15 at checkout, 15% off any subscription. Again, that is YouTube 15 at checkout for 15% off. And now we will go ahead and get right to the action. The first fight is Jacqueline Amorium at 9,500 taking on Mizuki Inoue. We have it. DraftKings just says Mizuki at 6,700. Line on this fight: Amorium at -450, Inoue or Mizuki at +350. And not much to say about this one on my end. I feel like this is just going to be a little bit of a squash match. Amorium, very aggressive, good wrestler, good submission artist. 4 straight finishes, including 3 straight subs, which is certainly not typical at this weight class. So definitely she could pay off for her price. Mizuki with that 85% takedown defensive rate, which is a little bit deceptive. Hannah Goldie went 1 for 10 against her, which we can kind of just throw out. Hannah Goldie, obviously not with the company anymore, and certainly no one's idea of a wrestler submission grappler when she was with the company. So I think Jacqueline's just going to roll here. You could pencil her in for cash lineups. I think maybe a little bit of room there in DFS, depending. Again, 13 fights, of course. You do want to be a little economical where you put your salaries, but I do think she is a cash play at least. But we will turn to the boys now and start with Drake. Drake, what do you think about the first fight here?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you too much. I will say that if Morum does make a mistake, there is a chance that Mizuki can capitalize on it. It's not like she hasn't fought anybody. She's fought, Alexa Grasso. She's fought Kovalkiewicz, Jandiroba on this card, and obviously Amanda Lemos now in the UFC. So it's not like she hasn't fought anybody. I think her biggest problem is that she's so one-dimensional. I think that's going to really hurt her, particularly in a fight with a killer like Amorim. So I don't really like her DraftKings price with the amount of value that you can get, at prices under her. But I mean, she's an excellent cash play, and I mean, I would not be surprised to see her score 105 plus.
Yeah, no, me either. Joe, how about you? What do you think about the opening fight here?
Yeah, so I don't want any part of her at 9.5K. I'd actually rather play the dog in cash at an extremely low price. I actually like her. I like her more than I do Batista, who I think is going to get, drum roll. I love Batista. I had him against Mix. I just don't think he stands a chance against Umar. But like at 6.7K, I really do think that Mizuki is cash viable. Now, with that said, she's coming off a 2-year layoff. Why? Like, why? Why is she coming off a 2-year layoff? Like, I have not dug deep enough into her like Insta or her social media to determine like, did she get hurt? Did she just not want to fight for 2 years? Like, what's the issue? So I do think that it could be an interesting fight. I mean, I don't want any part of Amorim at 9.5K. I'd rather play Aspinall under her. I'd rather play Umar above her. If you want to take a flyer in cash, I mean, great. I just don't want any part of her. And if I was going to build a cash lineup around having a sub 7K fighter in it, I would go with Mizuki.
I guess I don't mind the stretch. The thing is, she can just get totally washed in this fight. If she gets taken down, she could kind of goose egg. But
2 years off, you really don't know. Like, you really don't know what has she been doing for 2 years? That is the biggest concern.
The answer to that is she was rehabbing her knee again. So she blew her ACL in 2019, and I'm pretty sure after her last fight she re-injured it. And I'm pretty sure she spent that time rehabbing it.
That's something to watch. Okay.
Right. Yeah. And Joey chimes in with similar sentiments there. So it's something to watch. In these kind of weight classes, and ordinarily I would agree, but like Drake said, Amorim has been shown to be a finisher. So I don't think the propensity for like mistakes or slow starts will be there as it might be with some other women's fights. But we shall see how it goes. Next fight coming up here, and for some reason early in the week, Drake thought I would be on the dog here, but I am firmly on Azat Maxim at 9,200, who's taking on Mitroposto at 7,000. Also seeing here that Maxim did miss weight, so this one will be at a catch weight. Nevertheless, still on Maxim as I read the odds here, which are minus 500 for Maxim, plus 385 for Mitroposto. Azat Maxim came in with a fair amount of hype as a 14-0 fighter. He's had 2 losses since then. He's actually 1-2 in the organization, but they've both been good fighters. One against one of my favorite fighters in the organization, Charles Johnson. The other one against who was it? Let me see. Again, Tagir Ulanbekov. So definitely not slouches there on either end. Ulanbekov is, of course, a smothering grappler and very big for the weight class. So, definitely is tricky for a lot of opponents. But I tend to like Maxim a good deal. He's very well-rounded. He can get his wrestling going. He's got pretty crisp boxing. He's got a little bit of power. And Raposo, it just stands kind of flat-footed, just tries to swing big. I don't think that's going to work against a fighter as well-rounded as Azat Maxim. I actually like him a decent amount here. That 9,200 salary is again, you're getting a rebate from the first fighter there, and even though it is a flyweight, I like him to do a little wrestling, do a little boxing, and pile up the points. So I do like Maxim a fair amount here at that price point. We will start with Joe for this one. Joe, how do you see this fight?
Yeah, I'm kind of scared of Maxim in DFS. I mean, high price point. He's never, even in his win, he didn't score more than 59 points. I guess he's got a fairly decent floor, but like you're not looking for a floor at 9.2K. I mean, again, I hate to sound like a broken record here. I like Maxim for the win, just like I like Amarine for the win. But like in terms of DFS, I would be more willing to take a shot, especially in GPPs with Raposa. I mean, you know, okay, so Raposa lost 2 split decisions, and his last 2 losses are a split decision to Andre Lima and a split decision to Sumadarji, right? You know, before that, he was in Cage Titans, where he won by KO in round 4. So that was a title fight in Cage Titans. I don't know a ton about the promotion, but, you know, that kind of got him into the UFC, and he lost 2 split decisions. So, you know, he's getting 30% of Maxim's purse for Maxim missing weight. So I don't really, I want to see what Maxim can do against quote unquote an inferior opponent, if that is truly the case. I just am not willing to bank him at 9.2K in DFS when, again, I like fighters that are slightly higher and slightly lower. So again, this is a second, like, you know, post 9K pass for me in DFS.
Yeah, I understand the hesitation. I guess what I would say is, like his drives have been the great. Even a guy like Nam, who is better than, is a tough guy to look good against. Tyson Nam is like a big power puncher. He's got really good takedown defense. Kind of tough to look good against a guy like that. So I understand what you're saying. I do think Raposo is going to be by far the worst opponent he's had, which the salaries bear out. But I do think he has an opportunity to kind of get fat here. So maybe somebody that's a pay-up option that people won't be on because they see the 1-2 record and they see the low score even in the win. But maybe a potential option there. Drake, what about you? How you see this fight?
I am actually more on Joe's side for this one. I do worry about how Maxim's going to score in this fight. We just haven't seen him dominate like he did on where the hell did he fight? Anyways, in the previous promotion. And I don't know if it has to do with like the nerves, the big stage, or if it's just the style of competition. But Raposo, I think, is kind of being put into a bad spot because he's already lost 2. He lost his Contender Series fight. This is probably going to be his walking card. Maxim, it seems like they want to get him a win. It's one of those. I feel like it's kind of like a trap fight, and I think that just makes Maxim very contrarian. Because, I mean, he could come out and, he could get 10 takedowns, 10 minutes of control time, and just blow up the whole slate. It's really hard to tell. But GPP only contrarian. I'm definitely on Maxim, but I agree with Joe's sentiments.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I do think I am kind of eyeing that slate blower potential, even especially, I should say, at what could be more of a contrarian play, as you mentioned. Smokey, I'm too fried. Thank you so much for watching with the hot take to go in there. And as arguing with Joey in the chat currently. But so everybody behave in there. And we are going to go to the next fight, which is it's everybody's favorite. It is Hamdi Abdelwahab at 9,300 taking on Chris Huggy Bear Beast Boy Barnett at 6,900. Line on this fight is Abdelwahab minus 600, Chris Barnett plus 425. And, I think my sentiments are going to be echoed here in a moment, but I don't like Abdelwahab at all. I never have. I don't think I've ever picked him in a UFC fight. Maybe the first fight coming in because he fought he fought Dontel May. So I can't imagine I picked against him there because Dontel May is no disrespect, but certainly not. I don't think UFC caliber. But Abdelwahab, that is, he fights so slowly, and he's a Greco-Roman either. He's a medalist, either a gold medalist or a silver medalist in the Olympics. I don't remember which, but he doesn't use it. Number one, he doesn't use it enough. And number two, as we've seen with guys like Mark Madsen, I don't think Greco-Roman is quite the base for MMA in the same way that a freestyle or folk style wrestling might be. So, and Abdel Wahab is just very slow, very not athletic. And I don't like him at all. And the flip side, Barnett is very exciting, very athletic for a heavyweight, has a wheel kick knockout over, who was it? Long Islander, light heavyweight. I should just,
Viante.
Yes. Gian Vellante.
Gian Vellante is right, yeah. So definitely athletic. I mean, if he doesn't hurt himself in the intros, as he did for the Njoku fight, you know, he could just win this one with a little bit of volume. Abdel Wahab, we know gas is out. We know that Barnett is pretty athletic. That video always circulates around of him grappling Yoel Romero, which is pretty funny. But I'm going to take Barnett just because I don't like Abdul Wahab, and Barnett is athletic enough that maybe he can make something happen. So I'm going for the dog or pass. There's no way Abdel Wahab should be this big of a favorite against anybody, and certainly if he is, not in your consideration for DFS play, certainly. So my pick is Chris Barnett, and we're going to start with somebody who I think may agree with me somewhat. Drake, how do you see this fight?
Yeah, I am not a fan of Hamdi in the slightest. I do not think he's worth a damn. Barnett is at least fun. He makes his fights fun.
Yeah,
I would love to see Barnett win this fight, especially if he gets another one of those, meme type of knockouts. I do think that if Barnett gasses and Hamdi actually uses his wrestling, he could actually just put him on the ground and lay on top of him. So no matter what, I'll put it this way: unless Barnett is the winner, this fight is going to be boring.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great? Like, I don't know the answer to this. Wouldn't it be awesome if Barnett has like some kind of bottom game and he's just very active and he throws up a triangle?
It'd be wild.
That would be so fitting, wouldn't it? I'm hoping to see it. But in any case, I'm gonna go with Joe here. Let's see, maybe if he has a stronger take on the Hamdi train. Joe,
yeah, I mean, look, it's a narrative play for me, right? 39-year-old Chris Barnett, off injured. Obviously, when you're that small and carry that much weight, as I can personally attest to, not being small but carrying that much weight, it does affect your knees and your flexibility. And the guy's 39 years old. This is obvious. This is an.
Did you not see him do a backflip last time?
I know.
I don't think that part's an issue.
I know. You have an Egyptian opponent in the Middle East. This is obviously an easier matchup for him. This is the third fight in a row where I'm telling you I don't like the 9K fighter in DFS. I don't like actually either side in DFS because unless Hamdi gets a finish, which I don't think is going to happen. I mean, that's very rare with heavyweight fights where you're like predicting a decision, which is something I would lean towards here. To Drake's point, I see this as a lay and pray kind of fight, which you maybe get some control time, but I don't think he's going to score. So I don't like either side of this. I can't make a case for Huggy Bear in DFS and cash either. So, to me, this is a pass. This entire fight is a pass. I think Hamdi could be an interesting bet because what is his betting line, Chris? I'm sorry. I know you mentioned it.
It's in the stratosphere there. It's minus 600. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. I don't like him at minus 600. Honestly, I thought he was lower than Maxim, but I don't even like it as a bet then, not at minus 600. So this is a pass for me.
Yeah, I don't mind this being a go to the bathroom, get a sandwich fight for you if that's how you feel. But I do kind of agree with Drake that Barnett makes his fights exciting, and that could definitely be something to watch for. Just in case he puts on a show. I'm just kind of looking here because I wanted to just see. I mean, okay, he's got a 66% takedown accuracy. Actually, Abdel Wahab, but that speaks to how much he doesn't really go for him because he got 3 against Mays, 1 against Pogues, and then he didn't get one against Muhammad Usman. So, again, just not that much, not that active of a wrestler. And, his success might come by virtue of the fact that this is heavyweight. So, again, no interest for me either. And let's go Beast Boy / Huggy Bear. But we will move on now to a very intriguing fight, which is Jose Delgado at 8,500 taking on Nathaniel Wood at 7,700. Line on this fight, Delgado minus 143, Nathaniel Wood plus 123. And from what I can see from Jose Delgado, he is very much a fighter, at least from what I can see, that waits for that big moment to materialize. He's very much a fighter who needs that big moment. He's very content to let his opponent dictate action, and he explodes into shots and gets finishes. And I think a fighter like Nathaniel Wood is just too slick for that, too tough for that. Again, Wood, we know, just pours on his offense. He's going to get a chance to run downhill, as I said, as Delgado is going to cede space to him in the octagon. He's a very tricky fighter, a very good defensive fighter. He can even throw in a little bit of wrestling if he needs to. I really like Nathaniel Wood at this spot, and if you're getting him at any kind of underdog price, I really think that's good. I think that Nathaniel Wood is being sort of overlooked by the odds makers here, and I really do like him in this spot. But we will see how the boys feel, and I think we are going to Joe first. Joe, how do you see it?
Yeah, apologies, Chris, but I couldn't disagree more. Now this is a fight I have interest in. I think Wood is a natural 135er, fighting at 145 because he was just having a hard time making weight. Delgado is a fairly big 145er. I think he's going to knock Wood out. I know Wood has only been knocked out once, I believe, by John Dodson. I also see Delgado as being able to. Now, Delgado has got a wicked flying knee. And I see Wood perfectly positioned for Delgado to take him out by knee. So I am going to say Delgado by knockout here. I think the price point is good. He's what, 8.7, Chris?
He is 8.5.
So, even better. So he's 8.5. He did miss weight by 1 pound, which kind of concerns me. I usually don't like fighters that miss weight by only a pound because it means they really tried. So I hope he was able to rehide. He didn't look too bad at the ceremonial weigh-ins. I actually watched the ceremonial weigh-ins. Wow, did Mackenzie Dern look good? We can talk about that later. But Delgado, I'm a big fan of Mackenzie Dern. Sorry, I know a lot of people think she's mid, but I like her. I like Delgado here a lot. I like him by finish, and I like him in DFS.
That's interesting. It is flying knee season. We did see the Ciryl Gane flying. It's flying knee and spinning back fist / elbow season. So we will see how that materializes. Drake, break the tie here.
Joe, I am so sorry, and I mean no disrespect, but you couldn't be more wrong.
Woo! And I didn't read your article, so you must have commented on this in your article.
I love Delgado. I think he is wildly entertaining. I think he can get a flash knockout whenever he wants. I do not think he is composed enough to take on a guy like Nate Wood. I mean, we just saw Nathaniel Wood take on Morgan Cherrieri, who's a taller guy. Cherrieri is a phenomenal striker with a great kickboxing. We've already seen him take down Ciryl Gane, who has 5-inch reach out over him. He beat Andre Feely, who's got Nate he's used to fighting guys that are bigger. And I do not think he runs into any problems with this. Delgado needs to load up his swings or, spin. Nate Wood likes to fight right in the pocket. Delgado is going to struggle in this fight.
Well, Delgado, additional point I want to make. So Delgado is MMA lab, gets good training. He's on a 7-fight winning streak. And I honestly think Hyder Emil is better than Nathan Wood. Hyder Emil is 11-1 with it. Yeah, I do. Hyder Emil is 11-1 with his only loss coming to Delgado.
I've taken Hyder Emil in every fight that he's been in the UFC, and I don't agree with that.
He's won every fight except for his fight against Delgado, going back to the Contender Series. So. And he won a fight of the night in the past too. So I think Hyder Emil is better than Wood. I've never been a big Wood guy. I mean, John Dodson literally can't break an egg with his fists, and he finished Wood. And I get it. That was a long time ago. Wood was having a hard time making 135. Dodson's got good movement, but I honestly look, and this is great because this is a fight we can actually talk about and disagree on. I think Delgado is just going to run through him here. I think the MMA Lab has got a good game plan going. I was a little worried about missing weight, but the good news is that when Wood gets finished, he's going to get his show money and he's going to get 30% of Delgado's money. So at least he's going to get a payday to help him recover from getting knocked unconscious.
So when you said, I literally almost did a spit take because I have my water like this. I hadn't quite had a drink yet. Otherwise, I would have. Dude, what is Hyder Emil's best win? A split decision over William Gomes?
I'm just looking at his entire career. I've never thought much of Wood. I love the way that Hyder Emil fights. I don't know. I mean,
Hyder Emil, he's the
Hurricane. He's the Hurricane.
I don't want to shit dog him because he's fine, but he's like that. It's that regional scene style of pressure, and here it comes. Now it could turn out to be very good. We have to see. But a guy like Wood, who has some really good wins in this organization, I just don't see that at all. But okay, fair enough. So I do think what I will say is I do think either way the fight scores really well. And again, with middling salaries like this against two really one guy who's a really explosive striker, another guy who's got some power and is also going to just pour on the volume in Wood. I think either way you're getting a big score. So I do think you need to have both sides.
But, you should. Yeah, look, you should play both sides. I totally agree. I mean, if I'm in mass entry, and again, I have yet to decide what I'm going to do in DFS for this card because I'm not sure how much I like it. Now, I am in full disclosure playing for a 5-5-5 ticket in an NBA contest, and if I happen to win that, I'll be a lot more excited about playing DFS. I don't know how much I'm going to put into to DFS, so I guess we'll have to see. I was very fortunate last night in Thursday Night Football and hitting a 14-1 same game parlay for $100. So I got a little bit of money to play with from Thursday Night Football. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet, but you should have both sides of this fight. This is like probably the first fight on the card that we've talked about where I can truly endorse playing both sides.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Got some guys streaming in. Got some people streaming in. Rahul, thank you so much for the support. We appreciate you watching. Absolutely.
Wow, from India. Love it. Thank you.
Yeah, no.
Oh, by the way, belated Happy Diwali.
Absolutely. That's right. Good call.
Belated Happy Diwali. We have an offshore team as part of our company, and one of my neighbors, gave me a very nice Diwali gift. Like I walk outside and there's this like box of gourmet chocolates from Germany, like with a card, Happy Diwali. It was like one of the nicest things that a neighbor has ever done for me. So yes, Happy Diwali. Thank you for watching from India. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We are very internationally known, Joe. I don't know if you knew that, but word is definitely spreading fast. Thank you all so much for watching.
By the way, Chris and Drake, if we ever do a UFC card in Thailand, I may need to flip you guys an airline ticket. If UFC ever comes to Bangkok, I can use some of my, as long as you guys don't mind flying economy, because I cannot flip you guys a business class ticket.
Hey, you can buy me. I'll fly in the overhead compartment.
Yeah, I may need to, because that is like, I don't care where I am in my life. If the UFC ever comes to Bangkok to do a show in Bangkok, I am going to be there. That is my town. I know it better than I know some American cities, and I will flip you guys. You guys a ticket. Hotels are wicked cheap. I'll flip you guys a plane ticket.
Wow,
sounds
good.
Out.
Have you ever been to a Thai fight over there, John?
No, I've never been to Muay Thai. Like it's always on TV on Saturdays and Sundays too. I've never been to a Muay Thai fight. But like my wife is Thai, and her family, she's got a lot of family over there. So, and I've got actual expatriate friends, like some digital nomads who work and live in Bangkok. So definitely will hook you guys up. I'm just waiting for Dana White to say, yay, we're going to Thailand,
Yeah,
we'll make it happen. Sorry for the going off on a tangent.
Oh, no, absolutely. That's good information there, Joe. Whenever anybody ever wants to offer me a flight across the world, I'm definitely in for it. So no worries there at all. But for right now, we are going to move along down the card, and it is Walter Walker at 9,100 taking on Louis Sutherland at 7,100. Line on this fight: Walter Walker minus 380, Louis Sutherland plus 315. Louis Sutherland is the debutant who had his debut fight a couple weeks ago canceled. Now he is facing Walter Walker, who also had his last fight canceled. So a little bit of a mashup, and they get it together here. Didn't think much of Louis Sutherland for his first matchup. Really don't like him here very much either. Just a very slow-footed, plodding heavyweight who I suppose is a decent boxer, but Walter Walker loves to take advantage of these slow heavyweights and leg lock them. That seems to be his modus operandi now, which honestly is a pretty good idea. And I don't know if you saw this guy, Louis Sutherland, at weigh-ins, but he looks like a mountain from Game of Thrones.
Wait a second. You didn't like Louis Sutherland against Tafa? That was like my lock of the freaking week.
Oh,
like
I
was all over Louis Sutherland.
Like,
I was so annoyed when that fight canceled. I'm like, I was so keen on Louis Sutherland because Tafa is just so bad.
That's true. Like, maybe I was too keen to take a shot at my friend Louis Sutherland there, but I didn't like him overall. I probably did pick him over Tafa now that you mention it, but definitely don't like the way he looks overall. But guy is sort of a man mountain. If you did see him at weigh-ins, very big guy, and I think honestly we could be looking at a third straight heel hook with. Excuse me. Wow.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm getting choked up over this fight here.
By the way, did you see what Walker was wearing during weigh-ins? So during weigh-ins, Walker, he had this thing around his neck, and I was trying to figure out what it was, and he had it over his shirt. It was actually on a chain. It was a bloody ankle. So it was like cut off at the ankle. You see the foot, and you see like blood around the ankle on a chain around his neck.
Was it like a Halloween thing, or what?
No, it was like the coolest thing for a walkout. Like it was just like a bloody ankle on a chain that he wore. It was really, really, really cool. It's not my turn to pick the fight, so we can go to Drake. But I just wanted to see if you guys actually saw him wear that bloody ankle during.
No, I didn't see that, but
very, very cool.
That is funny. No, but I am picking Walter Walker, and like I said, I think a third straight heel hook is literally in reach here, especially with a guy this big. If Walker just roll, I doubt he really has much grappling in his pocket. If Walter just rolls for a leg, he probably gets it, quite honestly. So my pick is Walter Walker, but we will go to Drake. Drake, how do you see this fight?
Walter Walker, sometime in the first round.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see how you're going to go any different. Walter Walker just going to bring the fight and do what he wants to do, and I think he's going to make something break on Louis Sutherland. But we will go to Joe now. Joe, how do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Walker here too. Well, I'll complete the trifecta. I mean, I loved Sutherland against Tafa. I don't think this is a great matchup for him for his first fight. I mean, thankfully Walker is not a rear naked choke submission artist, because I don't think this guy has a neck.
Yeah, no.
Like, I think he's got like a Lear Latifi neck. So thankfully he is going for something that this guy he could grab onto. I don't know. I don't know if I'm as confident that it's going to go in the first round like Drake is, but this is probably the first fighter like over 9K of the fights we talked about that I can honestly endorse.
Yeah. I actually tend to think it does happen quick too. I just think that things are going to move too fast for Sutherland here, and he's just kind of get swallowed up. But do like him. Do think he's a good play over 9K in both GPP and in cash there. But we will move on to the next fight, which is I'm sorry, Ludwig Klein at 8,400 taking on Matus Rebecki at 7,800. Line on this fight: Klein at minus 135, Rebecki plus 135. I like Ludwig Klein here a great deal. Always been really quick, really solid kickboxer, has power, and Matus Rebecki has just taken more damage in his last few fights than any fighter probably should, just because he walks headlong into the pocket and tries to swing big and look for his takedowns. A nice solid takedown defense rate on Klein as well. I believe it's up over 80% or maybe high 70%. I just don't like Rebecca as a fighter. He strikes me as sort of a guy who is good, at the lower echelon of the division, kind of just mowing guys over. But when you get to guys with a little bit of skill, a little bit of craft, I don't think it measures up. So I actually like Ludovic Klein quite a bit here to stay on his feet and probably get a knockout. And unfortunately, give our boy Rebecca a little bit more pain. But we will see what the boys think, and we'll start with Drake. Drake, how you see it?
Nope, I disagree with you. I have Mateusz Rebecca as my bet of the week, and there's a massive reason for it. He does not have the same type of skill set that Gamrot does. He's not as good as Gamrot, but man, did Gamrot lay down the blueprint to absolutely destroy Klein. They fight very similarly. Rebecca's just a little more wild with it. I mean, it's rinse and repeat takedown, keep him on the ground. You had mentioned that Klein's takedown defense was over 80%. It was until he fought Gamrot, and then he took him down 6 out of 11 times. And, as long as Rebecca avoids that knockout, I don't think he has any issue putting Klein down.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them equivalent fighters. I think Gamrot is way more athletic than a guy like Rebecca.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's gonna make a difference here. I think Klein is kind of just gonna be able to move around him and pick his shots where he may. But we will see if Joe breaks the tie this time. Joe, what do you got?
Yeah, so this is an interesting fight for me, and honestly, and I'm not saying this to cop out. I want shares of both guys. I really do. What's interesting is going back 2 fights with Rebecca. He was a big underdog to Orbitai.
Yeah.
And he ended up beating him. It was a decision, but he got 3 takedowns, had a decent amount of control time, and won a really clear decision against Orbitai. Then he steps up and he goes against Duncan, and he's a big favorite. Well, not big, a moderate favorite. He's 9K on DraftKings, and he totally craps the bed in that fight. Although he did get 2 takedowns and land 114 significant strikes. My lean here is towards Rebecca, and I do like the odds value on DraftKings at 7.8K. Did you give the lines, Chris? Because I think this fight is pretty closely lined.
Yeah, no, it is. It's 135 for Klein plus 115 for Rebecca.
Yeah, I mean, at 7.8K plus 115, I think you could build some decent lineups. Again, I do want fairly equal ownership, but if I have to make a pick, I'll go with Drake and I'll pick Rebecca here.
All right. I mean, look, Rebecca's definitely a guy who's going to bring the points if he does get the win.
Got to go with the Polish fighter, being half Polish
there
myself.
You go. I just think Klein is going to use his athleticism and show out. But we will see how that one goes. But on to the next fight now. And it is, I had Klein up, so let me just delete that. Next fight is it's Quinton Salkilld at 8,100. Oh no, sorry, skipped one. It is Ikram Aliskerov at 9,000, taking on the Iron Turtle Jun Young Park at 7,200. Line on this fight is Aliskerov minus 209, Jun Young Park plus 179. Drake and I were talking about this one a little bit before the show, and I actually love Jun Young Park as a sizable underdog here. I think that Ikram Aliskerov, with the recent cut of Andre Muniz, does not have a win over anybody currently in the organization, and got knocked out in the first round against Robert Whittaker, which is a win that is a loss rather that is looking worse all the time with the current state of Robert Whittaker. The other thing to point out is that Aliskerov is literally only been a 1-round fighter in the UFC. Jun Young Park, very difficult to put away, very tough. The Iron Turtle, indeed, and very solid boxer. Takedown artist, always looks for the back. Might not get as much grappling here with a guy like Aliskerov, but certainly I think can play on the ground if he needs to. And I think his pressuring will stop Aliskerov from really exploding into those strikes as he needs to do. So I really do like Jun Young Park here. I think he's a really strong play at 7,200, a little bit of that salary relief to get some of the bigger the bigger names in here that can put up some points. And I think Alaskarov could be fairly popular, especially if you're just looking at, I mean, the 3 wins, they're all over 100. So I think that's going to draw some attention to him, especially if somebody's looking and they say, wow, his only loss was to Whitaker. And Whitaker was a champion, and et cetera, et cetera. So I really do like Park in this fight. I think you get some savings there in more ways than one, and do think he has the opportunity to really sort of break the slate with that price point. But we will see what the boys think first, and I think we're starting with Joe. Joe, how you see it?
Yeah, so I'm on the Iron Turtle here too. By the way, how bad does that Whitaker loss look now?
It's getting worse all the time.
Yeah.
I am not going to tolerate all of this Whitaker slander.
There's a loss that has not aged well. Honestly, look, the Iron Turtle is a tough guy to finish. Like you're looking for a cash game, play it at that a low price point. Play the Iron Turtle. I mean, I don't think he's got a massively high ceiling, but I think he has a solid floor. And I think this fight is going to go to decision. I don't think, has he ever been knocked out? I don't think he's ever been knocked out. The Iron Turtle. I think he might have been submitted.
He's been knocked out once.
He's been knocked out once.
Yeah.
Okay, I stand corrected. I'm gonna, I was thinking about this. Is one of the fights I was thinking about. Alaskarov and how hyped up he was going into that Whitaker fight, and he was actually a favorite in that fight, which was really wild. He was a favorite going into that fight. And I remember that was one where all the wise guys were on Whitaker. They're like, this is just such a fraudulent favorite, and we got to go on Whitaker. And Whitaker made really short work of him in that fight. And again, it's not aging well, but okay. So I'm gonna go with the Iron Turtle. I kind of like him in cash. I don't know if I would feel that comfortable betting him. What I might do is look at the 3.5 point, taking him plus 3.5, which means he has to win one round on all 3 judges' scorecards. And I might play him that way just because I think he can grind out, even if he loses a decision, he could grind out 1 of 3 rounds. So I'll take the Iron Turtle as a dog here.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do think that price is just way too tempting with the style that Park fights, and also, as you said, maybe kind of the paper resume of a guy like Alaskarov and the 1-round element. But we will see why Drake differs in his opinion. Drake, what do you got?
It's not that I necessarily differ, because I do like Park, and I've always thought that he's a great fighter. I guess the biggest issue that I have with this fight is there's another guy, and in fact, it's the guy that knocked out Park, that Aliskerov reminds me of a little bit, and that's Gregory Rodriguez, RoboCop. And they both have a long reach. They're relatively tall, and they have just overwhelming power once they start going. And it could be the same type of thing where, you get through the first, and then in the second round, it's Aliskerov just lights him up, and he, Park goes down. Otherwise it could be the other way around. Aliskerov could unload his gas tank in the first round, get tired, and we could see Park dominate on the mat. This is another fight where I think you should probably have both sides. You can make a case for both sides. In my mind, I just can't see Park surviving past 7.5 minutes.
Interesting. Yeah, no, Alaskarov definitely dangerous. I just never thought too much of it. Maybe I could have just never get the image out of my head of Hawes hurting him before he actually finished Phil Hawes. So there's just something to me that seems like it might be made of glass, and maybe Park can expose it, but we will see. Joe, how do you see this fight? Oh, no, I'm sorry, Joe. You win already. Drake, you were the second guy to go. I did want to say here, too, because I think it's actually worth mentioning that this is a card that's a little different. We are in Abu Dhabi, so 10 a.m. tomorrow, boys on the East Coast. Go ahead and get your coffee and enjoy some fights. But we will move on up the card now, and our next fight is Quinton Sal. Actually, it doesn't matter who I start with, so we'll start with Quinton Salkilled at 8,100, taking on Nasrat Haqparast, also at 8,100. Line on this fight is Salkilled minus 115, Haqparast minus 105. Interesting little fight. This could be another one in our both sides club, just because each fighter has ways where they can put up big scores. I really like what Haqparast showed in the last fight against Ribovic specifically. Just the ability to, use his speed, use his movement, be kind of an outfighter, ding up with combinations, and then escape from the pocket. I think he can do a similar thing here. He's going to be the much faster guy here against a guy like Salkild. Salkild's going to want to wrestle. Haqparast, another guy with a really robust takedown defense rate. This one I think is like 78% for Haqparast. So I really like that aspect of it. Salkild is a guy who can get tired too. We saw him. He did a lot of wrestling in that Ashmuz fight. Did actually end up getting the W there, but can't get tired. And I just think Haqparast is he's got too much on the feet, and he's too good at not getting taken down. So I like Haqparast here. Salkild can obviously put up a big score if he gets his wrestling going. And at 8,100 on both sides, I really think because Haqparast just pours on the significant strikes. If you look at his counter, I mean, he gets over 100 significant strikes as sort of a rule. So he can definitely put up above that 8,100, even if it's only striking base with a decision win. Salkild definitely can with his wrestling base. But I like Haqparast here personally. And we will start with Drake. Drake, how you see it?
This is one of those fights that makes absolutely zero sense to me. And I think Haqparast should be way higher than he is. So you're getting him at value at 8,100 and his betting line. I don't understand the odds makers in this one. I don't understand the pricing. Salkild has proven nothing besides beating three bums. And you can't just manhandle Haqparast like you were able to do with the other three. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Haqparast is so good at standing in the pocket and just lighting you up. Salkild is not going to enjoy this fight. He's going to come out bloodied up, and it's going to be great for DFS.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. Salkild can get his game going. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Haqparast is really going to put on a show with his footwork and his speed and the combination punching there. But we will see what Joe thinks. Joe, how you see it?
So a little bit of a counterpoint. I mean, the matchmakers, there's a bit of a narrative around this fight being in the Middle East, right? Also, granted, it's a two-fight sample size against less than stellar opponents, but 122 DraftKings points is pretty compelling. Also, looking at Haqparast, yes, he's coming off of a 6-fight win streak. 5 of those fights, he was clearly the favorite. The most impressive win, quite honestly, was his last fight against Ribovic, where he was, I believe, 7.1K dog in that fight. So I do, I see Drake's take on Haqparast in DraftKings. This is a fight I want both sides of. Like, I can't let a guy who averages 122 DraftKings points at 8.1K, I can't not have ownership of that guy. I'll agree with Haqparast getting the win here. I mean, also, did you realize that he's like a doppelganger for Kevin Gastelum?
Yeah, Gastelum.
Yeah,
sure.
he looks a lot like Gastelum.
He knows how to make weight.
Yeah, well, exactly. He knows how to make weight. Yeah, so I'll go with the pick for Haqparast. I don't know if I'm going to bet it or not. I'm a little scared. Well, not scared, but I mean, like the Middle East narrative and 122 DraftKings points is pretty compelling. So I will take both sides in GPPs. Haqparast is probably a better cash play, but you want both sides of this fight. I think it's a really cool GPP fight, and you're right. You don't too often see fights that aren't this wasn't added, was it?
No, I don't
at
think
8.1K each. Like,
that's so weird. Yeah,
you don't see that too often. You see like 82.8, right? But this is 8.1. So anyway, yeah. Enough said.
Yeah, no, it should be pretty compelling. But I do think that the Haqparast is going to get off early and kind of dispirit Salkild from employing his game. But we will see if Salkild can hit a couple takedowns early. Might change the direction of the fight a little bit. But we'll move on now and go to the main card, and it is Azamat Murzakanov at 8,300 taking on Alexander Rakic at 7,900. Line on this fight is Murzakanov. I'm sorry, Rakic is the favorite, minus 118. Murzakanov minus 102. So both fighters in the negative numbers there, but Rakic lined a little heavier. And me and Drake certainly have our disagreements, but I think one thing that we heavily agree on is that Mirzakhanov is going to be a title contender in pretty short order here. He's one of the most promising light heavyweights I think we've seen in a while. Good combination puncher. He's got the wrestling in his back pocket. He's very athletic. He's got good footwork, good going forwards and backwards. You don't see a lot of fighters who can do that very well, especially at the heavier weight classes. We do have to say he's on the wrong end of height and reach in a pretty significant fashion here. I don't think it matters in this case. I think he'll be able to use that footwork, use that speed, get on the inside, catch Rakic flat-footed. Rakic's been knocked out 2 of his last 3 fights now. I think we're going to head to make that 3 out of 4. I really do like Mirzakhanov in this spot. Height and reach be damned. My pick is Mirzakhanov, but we will go with, I believe we're starting Joe here. Joe, how you see it?
Yeah, so one of the things the second thing I noticed, other than the hotness of Mackenzie Dern, was how big Rakic looked over Mirzakhanov. I mean, it was almost like 2 weight classes were skipped. I mean, he's that tall, he's that much bigger, which worries me a little bit. He's also fought better competition. I want both sides of this fight. I think I picked Rakic in our Tuesday. Like, I hate picking so early in the week because it usually takes me a while, to get a card work through. So I might have picked Rakic early in the week, and I hate to go against those picks unless there's like a compelling reason, like they missed weight or there was something I didn't know about the fight. So I guess I'll stick with Rakic here. I mean, it's not an overly confident pick, and I do want both sides of this fight. So listen to Drake and Chris on this fight, and I think you do want a few shares of Rakic in DFS because of the height and reach difference, and the fact that he's got a little bit more experience. It's hard to go against the Russian, but I'll stay with Rakic, but it's lukewarm. I'm not as positive about that pick as Chris and Drake is on the other side. Joey's saying this too.
Yep. Look, Mark Hunt knocked out Stefan Struve, right? I mean, the guy heavyweight is light heavyweight here, but the heavier weight classes are, I don't think size matters as much as other skills do at the heavier weight class.
It's light heavyweight though. It's not
light heavyweight. Yeah. No, I did say that, but I just don't think size matters quite as much. And like I said, I don't think we see skill-based fighters at the heavier weight classes like this too often. I recognize that he's on the wrong end of the tape measure here. I just don't think Rakic has enough, especially at this point in his career, battling back from injuries and then, taking the losses and taking those knockouts. And now he's going to face a very explosive puncher again with all the skill base that I mentioned. And I just don't think he has it. It's funny to me. The clip circulating around, the UFC always pick one. The clip circulating around for Rakic was still the Jimmy Manuwa head kick, which I believe is like 7 or 8 years old now. So Rakic, hasn't really done much to put on the ledger lately, and might just be aging out of the division at this point. But we will see. Drake, how you see this fight?
Rakic is a bum. You can say that he's fought better competition all you want. Yeah, he's fought it, but he has also lost to it, all of it. I mean, his last 2 wins were Thiago Santos at the end of his career and Anthony Smith winding down at the end of his career. Rakic has no wins. Mirzakhanov is going to absolutely light him up. We've already seen what he can do against a guy with longer reach and height, and that was against Brenson Ribeiro, who's got 81 inches of reach, and he was taller at 6'3". This isn't going to be an issue. Mirzakhanov is going to murder him.
Yeah, I agree. It's not an issue. And our friend points out here, DC heavyweight champ, so
DC's a bum too.
Well, if you like him, the line is really good. This is a really good betting line, guys. Minus 105. Here's the other thing you could do. If you really think he's going to, you could get him minus 3.5 points at plus 130 if you wanted to play that. The over is juiced to minus 125. The over 2.5.
So Joe, if you play those and the fighter that you pick finishes the fight, you just win it, or it's
Yeah,
a no
you win it.
contest?
You win it. You win it. It only
Okay.
comes into play if there's a decision.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So if there's a finish, you automatically win.
Yeah. So that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was afraid that there might be some
No. There are bets that you could make that are finish only bets. Too.
Yeah.
You know, you could do those kind of bets. I mean, since we're still talking about the fight, let's just take a quick look. But if you like him by KO, he's plus 200. But if you think he's got a legitimate chance of submitting, it's 2,500.
Submitting, yeah.
Yeah, but here's what's interesting. So it's faded to the over 2.5, right? But Mirzakhanov by knockout is plus 200. Mirzakhanov by decision is plus 400.
Yeah,
which is kind of interesting. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a playable fight. I mean, yeah, I don't hate your guys' pick.
Yeah, you know, and I always go back to the his fight with Jerry, because it was like Jerry was asleep for about a round and a half, and as soon as he decided to go, he knocked him out. So
here's the other thing too. Like you DraftKings is starting to post these stats. Even though Mirzakhanov is minus 105, but 54% of the bets on that fight are on Mirzakhanov. 46% of the bets are on the favorite, right? So there's more actual bets on Mirzakhanov. There's just larger bets, seemingly on. Well, no, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to look at this. I'll have to look at splits on this end. So yeah, Mirzakhanov is getting bets as a minus 105 favorite.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. So they keep like a running tally of all the bets?
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do.
That's cool. Yeah. All right, so definitely interesting stuff there. We will see if the height in the reach plays. Drake and I think it will not, but we will see how it goes. Next fight coming up, it is Jelton Almeida, 8,800. Alexander Volkov, 7,400. Line on this fight is Jelton minus 190, Volkov plus 165. We mentioned Volkov earlier in relation to Ciryl Gane. Maybe the rightful person in the title fight, if we were going by who was the winner of him and Gane, because certainly it did look like Volkov should have won that there. But Jelton is just. You have to ask yourself how long you just want to pick these hurricane fighters. And in a division like heavyweight, it's going to be longer than in maybe a better skill division, because he can just use his attributes and just run people over, because, heavyweight is very bad, as we know. But I think Rakic has enough skill and craft to sort of fade this year. I know that he has been, vulnerable to being taken down, but I also know that he gets back up to his feet. He's also going to have 4 inches of height on a guy like Jelton here. And I think that plays much more here, because the reason why I didn't really care for Mirzakhanov was because of the skills that were involved. Jelton, I mean, he showed a little bit more striking in his last fight against the polar bear there. What is his actual name? I'm blanking on it. Spivak, against Spivak. A little bit more striking there, but I just think Volkov's going to be able to keep his range a lot better, especially in the early rounds. He's got that nice stabbing front kick that we saw him use a lot against guys like Derek Brunson. I think that's going to play a lot here, and I really just think he's got a little too much in the tank to be to just be bowled over by a guy like Jelton Almeida. We did see Volkov get subbed by Tom Aspinall, who we'll talk about later. But I think at a certain point, Jelton Almeida has got to meet the hard ceiling. And he did have to stumble against Blades, but I think it's going to be a little bit more comprehensive here. I think Volkov is going to get this done. Certainly have some Jelton Almeida, because he could just run through it. And even in the first round of that Blades fight, he got like 9 takedowns. So, I mean, it wasn't a total loss, but have some shares of him just in case he bowls it over. But my official pick is going to be Drago, Alexander Volkov. But we'll see what the boys think. And I think we're starting with Drake. Drake, how you see it?
Yeah, this is a very dangerous fight, and this is where Almeida needs to prove whether he can actually hang with the top 5 or not. I'm on
whether he
side.
should be a heavyweight at all, honestly.
Yeah, it's true.
That's also valid. But I am erring on the side of Almeida. I just think his ground game is too dangerous. Volkov he's an interesting fighter. I feel like he has a lot more ups and downs than a lot of other guys in the division, or at least in the top 10. But Volkov's dangerous. He could knock him out. He could tire him out and then knock him out. It could be a number of things. I do think you need both sides of this fight in order, in GPPs, both guys could easily score well over 100 in this fight. I just think that Almeida is not going to have an issue getting this down to the mat. And I can see Joey's chat there. Almeida, I do have Almeida by sub in this fight.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a valid point of view. I just think that if he does get Volkov down and Volkov gets back to his feet a couple times, maybe throws in some knees to the body there, I think he can sort of tire him out in short order. But it's one of those fights, one of those binaries where we're gonna see how it goes very, very, very early. I think in the first few exchanges, we're gonna see how the fight gets played out. And I do notice we're saying both sides a lot tonight, which I think is warranted. I think there's a lot, as I said in the open here. I think there's just a lot of fights where it's like, this guy, but this guy can do this. So, which makes it more exciting.
Chris, that happens when a lot of guys are closer to one dimensional than two. There's not like this card in specific, unless we're talking about Aspinall, there's not a lot of guys that are really good at striking and really good at, fighting on the mat. So
yeah,
I think that's a huge part of it because when each fighter has an avenue to win, well, that's just kind of how it goes.
Right, yeah, and not just an avenue to win, but has shown they can really work that to their advantage. So definitely helps in seeing how each guy can win the fight. But that will definitely be an interesting one. As well, our next fight.
I didn't make a pick.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe.
That's
Joe,
okay.
how do you see this fight?
That's okay. So I did think a lot about this fight, and I mean both you guys made great points. The way I look at this fight, and I'm a huge Drago guy. I mean, I was on him against Pavlovich. I thought that was like such a great fight. I love the fact that his corner like combed his hair in the middle of the while he was on the bench. I thought that was like really, really funny. But I like Drago. The guy's massive. I honestly think Almeida should be fighting at 205. I think he could actually have a really good career at 205. I really honestly do, because that wrestling is just so that takedown is so good. The way I see Volkov winning this fight, and you mentioned Almeida by sub, there's not a lot of meat on that bone, dude. He's only like plus 140 by sub. That's not a lot. Now Volkov by knockout on the other side is plus 300. So I'm kind of more apt to take a flyer on Volkov by knockout. And the way I see Volkov winning this fight is very similar to how Curtis Blades won it. Is he's pushed up against the fence. Almeida has him up against the fence, and he's just hammering him. He's hammering him while he's trying to get the takedown. Now, for that to happen, I legit think Volkov has to get through the first round. Like, he's got to get through the first round, and he's got to get Almeida a little tired, because Almeida will get a takedown. Like, he will get a takedown. So, maybe like some kind of bet where the fight goes past the first round. I don't know, but I'm gonna take a flyer on Volkov here. I do want both sides. I think you could build some decent lineups, with both these fighters. My pick was Volkov on Tuesday, and I'm staying with it.
Yeah, no, definitely. As you said, both sides could definitely see him start to hammer away, a la Curtis Blades. And he almost certainly does have to weather a storm unless he really, if he really just stays upright. I mean, the height advantage too could prevent Almeida from getting on the inside quite as easily. I'm not sure. We'll have to see how it plays out. But now we're gonna move right on to the next fight, which is Umar Nurmagomedov at 9,600 taking on Mario Batista 6,600. Line on this fight is appropriately big. It is minus 700 for Umar, plus 500 Mario Batista. And I wrote in my article that if you can get within a couple of sequences of dethroning Merab Dvalishvili, everything else kind of looks like light work. And I do think that this is going to be, I think Joe said it, that Mario Batista is a good fighter, a well put together fighter. I picked him as an underdog in his first UFC fight against Corey Sandhagen. That one didn't go quite so well. But I have always liked Mario Batista and the skill set that he brings. I just don't think it's going to matter here. I think everywhere he's good, Umar is better. He might be a little bit better of a kicker. That's about it. Scrambling, which Batista is good at, Umar is better. Wrestling, Umar is better. Umar is faster. Umar is probably a little more powerful. And suffice it to say, I think Umar is going to get the job done here. Batista can, of course, slow fights down. We saw that against Aldo, although he's not going to be able to lean on his stall wrestling here. So that could limit it. But it might be a little difficult for Umar to hit his mark. But I still like him a ton here. I think he should roll over and win the fight. And cash option at the very least. So the pick is, of course, Umar Nurmagomedov. Here we will start with Joe. Joe, how you see it?
Yeah, I like Umar here as well. I mean, again, do credit to Batista. I think he's a game fighter. I think this is just going to be too much for him. I think Umar is going to get him down. The over is really juiced here. The over 2.5 minus 260. So as a way to get a little bit of leverage here, because I'm not a minus 625 kind of guy. I'm going to take Umar minus 5.5, which is, you typically don't see that in a 3-round fight. But I do see him getting a 10-8 round. The only reason I don't want to play him by decision, which is minus 170, is because I do think that he can potentially get a finish here. So Umar minus 5.5 is minus 135, which is materially different from minus 625. So I do like Umar here. One of my favorite plays on the card. I mean, just look at Umar's DraftKings gold when he wins. I mean, look at his points. I mean, I think he even scored reasonably well in the loss against Merab. He had a decent score in that fight. So I'm over Umar. My favorite play on the slate.
Yeah, no, hard to disagree. Drake, what do you got?
It's almost like a free pick. Honestly, I mean, nothing against Bautista. He's just nowhere near the realm of guys like Umar and Dvalishvili. And I mean, it's almost unfortunate because they get to the point where they're supposed to take on these guys that are above them, and Umar's got to fight somebody below him because he lost to Merab already. But I mean, it's like a tune-up fight for him basically. I don't see Umar having any issues with this fight.
Yeah, me either. I do think that's the way you got to go. Batista said he's going to knock him out, make a statement, and all credit to the confidence, but don't see it happening.
And the one thing I want to add too is that Umar is going to look to make a statement here. I mean, he's been training, which is why I'm hesitant to go with the Umar by decision. I'd rather just take the minus 5.5, and if he gets a finish, you get the win. So I heard he's been training just lights out. He was embarrassed. I also heard that he broke his hand in that fight against Merab. So he actually fought like several rounds of that fight with a broken hand. And, we love Merab. I mean, Merab put up over 200 DraftKings points in his last. I think he broke Khabib's record for most DraftKings points in a fight. But he was so highly owned, like a lot of people had it. Like, I can't believe people were actually picking Corey there. Anyway, I think that he's looking to make a statement here.
Yeah, no, I think he is. The one thing, just to diverge a little bit, rather, I do think, it's worth asking the question: what happens if Merab doesn't catch Sandhagen out in round 2 of that fight? Because I do think Sandhagen was having more success than most throughout large swaths of it. I just think that he kind of got derailed in round 2 there and never really found his footing again. But either way, he's probably not going to get another chance. And Merab versus Umar is the fight to make next, almost certainly, unless something shocking happens here, which I do not foresee. But we will move on now, and it is the first of our title fights, the strawweight title fight, the vacant belt between Mackenzie Dern at 8,600 taking on Virna Jandiroba at 7,600. Line on this fight, it is Mackenzie Dern minus 155, Virna Jandiroba plus 135. Virna Jandiroba, my last bullet in the champ by 2025, end of 2025. She wins here, she's in, and she was plus 600 on DraftKings when I wrote that up in December of last year. So hopefully you jumped on that because, and if you did, I have good news. I do think she wins here. The first thing to note is their first fight in 2020 was very close. Mackenzie Dern wins it ultimately just because she's more aggressive, A, and B, because Virna's too wild, B. I think she's cleaned up both of those things. One, the one thing that jumps out at you in her recent fights, as opposed to that one, she's just way more confident now. She takes the center of the cage. She backs her opponents up. She looks for her takedowns. The one thing I noticed in the fight against Yan Xiaonan, a lot of reactive takedown attempts, a lot of attempts underneath Yan Xiaonan swinging, and Mackenzie Dern swings very wildly. I think that Virna is going to look for her takedowns here. I think she's going to be more amenable to going to the ground. She was very hesitant to go to the ground. She was safe on the ground in the last fight against Mackenzie Dern. You can see why. And look, there have been times where she has been submission over position on the ground. I don't think she is going to fall into that trap here. I think she knows what she's up against. She has a nice jab. She's better on the feet than I think people give her credit for, although we do hardly see it. But I think it's just a different fight now. When they first fought, it was Mackenzie Dern on the ascendancy and Virna Jandiroba finding her footing. Now we're very much in the other direction with Virna winning her last 5 and Mackenzie Dern kind of being up and down, losing her coach there, and then sort of her striking has been all over the place and her wrestling's been all over the place. I just think Virna's the much better put together fighter at this point. And unless she can tap Virna, which I think is a tall order, I think Virna's gonna take the decision.
So Chris, Mackenzie is no longer working with Jason Perillo?
No, it's been a couple fights since that hasn't been the case. I don't know. I don't remember exactly when she left, but it's been a few fights, I do believe. But then that's when her striking sort of looked all over the place, and she's still very lungy. She's still very aggressive, but I don't think that Virna is just going to sit and wait around for her this time around and let Mackenzie get ahead in the way that she did. Virna still landed the biggest strike of that last fight, busted up Mackenzie's nose, possibly breaking it with a nice little elbow there. I do think she's the better fighter and tighten the clinch as well. I just think Virna has too many advantages here and enough grappling to sort of neutralize Mackenzie, even if Mackenzie is ultimately the better grappler. So I'm going to go with Virna to take the title, but we will, I think, go to Joe first. Joe, how you see it?
Yeah, I picked Virna on my Tuesday picks, but I'm kind of coming around on Mackenzie, and I swear this is not a visual play on Mackenzie Dern. I really do think, well, one, Virna is 37. This is a bit of a narrative fight for me as well. I really do believe that the UFC would love to have Mackenzie Dern as the strawweight championship for obvious reasons. She is like eminently marketable. All you have to do is look at her Insta hot tub pics. So yeah, I think I'm gonna come back around. Good tip. I did not realize that they completely severed ties. Like I did see her father walk her out when during weigh-ins, but I did not know whether Jason. That makes me like her a little bit less. But yeah, I'm gonna switch my pick to Mackenzie Dern. I think I don't think this fight is gonna score that highly. Though I don't, and this is saying a lot for a 5-round fight that it's not a necessity to have one of the fighters in your DraftKings lineups. I think you could say that about this fight. Like you don't necessarily need to have either one of these fighters, because I really do think it's going to go over, and probably end up by decision. I don't see Mackenzie or Virna knocking each other out, and I think their jiu-jitsu just washes unless someone makes a mistake. So I do see this fight going to decision. I don't think either one is going to get a lot of control time. Mackenzie's comfortable on her back, but she is always working subs. And she could definitely reverse Virna. So I'm going to switch my pick over to Mackenzie Dern. I'm not highly confident about it, especially with the fact that she's not working with Jason Perillo any longer, which kind of bugs me. But yeah, I'm going to go with Dern here.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. Drake, what do you got?
I'm so sorry, Chris. You're going to lose your second belt pick of the year.
No, sir.
I've liked watching, Jandiroba kind of, climb up the ranks, and I've taken her in a lot of her fights. I just, the way she fights, I think is so stylistically bad against Dern. I mean, they're close. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that the fight's going to be exponentially to one side. I do think that it's going to be a close fight. But Dern, this whole training camp has been concentrating on fighting more composed, more straight, and she's been doing a shit ton of training with Tabitha Ricci, and I think that only helps her in this fight. I think she's got the edge in striking. I think she has the edge on the mat. I mean, it's going to come down to who can control who, and I just think that Dern will win more exchanges than Jandiroba will by the end of it.
I disagree. I think Jandiroba's the better striker. Dern was more aggressive in the last fight, and Virna wasn't ready for it. I don't think that's going to be an issue this time around, but we will see. But I will be fairly devastated if she does lose, because I want that pick to come in so bad.
I'll be laughing at you because
I know
you'll be wrong again.
I know, absolutely. I'll be greeted to some expletives in the chat, I'm sure. But I'm ready for it. But I do think Virna's got this. Again, my only real worry is I don't want her to rush on the mat. I think that can get her in trouble. But otherwise, I do think this is her fight to win. But I do think it's close too. I will agree with that. I think the striking in the beginning is going to be a lot of tit for tat, and then the fight's going to develop, and we're going to see how it goes from there. But now we're going to move to the main event of the evening. It is Tom Aspinall, 9,400, as the undisputed heavyweight champion for the first time, taking on Ciryl Gane at 6,800. Line on this fight is Aspinall minus 370, Ciryl Gane plus 295. At some point, maybe not since this is heavyweight, but we will have to talk about Tom Aspinall's defense and how it's not that great. How he kind of pulls his head back and kind of is open to be hit. The problem is that Ciryl Gane has been, taken down by everybody who's wanted to take him down, including non-wrestlers like Francis Ngannou, like Alexander Volkov, who we just mentioned. And Tom Aspinall closes distance quickly. He starts pretty fast. I just think he's going to get him down and finish this fight. If he doesn't get to his wrestling quickly, if he stands in space for too long, I think Gane can light him up. I do think that's a very distinct possibility. Look, Curtis Blades was doing well in both fights standing before the eventual knockout came. The thing with a guy like Tom is he's so fast, explosive, and powerful that he hasn't really needed to work on his defense, striking defense. And maybe that time will never come, especially if he can get the wrestling in his back pocket. But if it doesn't, I think Gane can light him up. But again, I think Aspinall is just going to start too fast. I think he's going to work his wrestling, and I think he's going to get a finish here. If not, if he doesn't get to that wrestling quickly enough, could get interesting. But my pick has to be Tom Aspinall. But we will go to Drake for the main event. Drake, how you see it?
Yeah, I'm all over Aspinall. I don't think he has any problem with this fight. I don't think Gane deserves the title fight. And I don't think he's, I think the biggest difference in this fight and why I'd be so heavily on Aspinall against Gane in any format is how much faster he is than Gane. And I think that's the key to Aspinall's game. If you're able to take away his speed, you probably have all day to beat him. The dude moves so fast for a heavyweight, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
I think he could beat him standing up. I think he can beat him on the mat. This should be an Aspinall lock. It should be easy.
Yeah, no, the speed is definitely one of his defining characteristics, especially at heavyweight. And I do think ultimately that that the fight will go to the ground and not have much trouble. I think if it stays on the feet, it gets more interesting. I mean, we've seen him struggle against. I wouldn't say he struggled against guys like Blades and even Arlovsky, but he was taking shots in both of those fights. So I think if he has to stand, it might get a little dicey. But I don't think it gets to that point. But we will go to Joe for the main event. Joe, how you see it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all over Aspinall here. I like a by finish. Although you don't really get much of a pickup with Aspinall by finish, so I'm probably just going to use him as a parlay piece and bet him straight.
Yeah, no, it's true.
But by the way, Chris, I just want to kind of make this point. I'm looking at RVCA Training Center, which is Jason Perillo's gym.
Yeah,
and I see a recent photo of Mackenzie Dern.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe
she is still there. He is still her striking.
Okay, good. That makes me feel a whole heck of a lot better.
So did she leave or come back? Because I could have sworn.
I think yeah, you're right, because there was one fight where she looked so good working with Jason Perillo, and then the fight after that she lost, against Andrade, she looked horrible, and people were saying that Jason Perillo was not training her for that fight.
Yeah.
It was her dad. So I'm looking at just some recent Insta photos for for the training center where Jason Perillo is the striking coach, and apparently she's still there. So that's really good news.
No, my apologies. It looks like you're right. I see. It looks like maybe he's there with her at the open workouts, but I could have sworn that at a certain point they had parted ways.
They did. I think they did. Honestly, I believe they did. Because, because she looked so bad against Andrade, in that fight.
That was during her divorce and all that nonsense.
Okay, yeah, that could have been part of it too. Okay, that honestly, guys, that makes me like Dern a lot more now.
Okay, I mean, certainly not enough to sway my pick, but if you're like Joe, that
you couldn't sway your pick either way because you have Jandiroba winning the belt by the end of the year. Just like you couldn't sway away from your other title fight. We just won't mention it, but you were wrong.
Well, look, I mean, stuff happens. I mean, if you're gonna say if we're gonna say Pereira was hurt and et cetera, then we have to also put credence into Ankalaev's.
Good. I hope he was, because Pereira at least lasted 25 minutes with the other way around.
Or whatever he had.
Ankalaev got smashed.
Yeah, but a hurt rib is a lot more devastating in a fight than something like a.
I don't even think there was time for him to even breathe and feel his rib. He got knocked so fast.
You know what? I do think I would be interested to see a third fight, which will never happen now. But I do think that that fighting is such a weird thing, because things sometimes just happen, and we can't go back and say, and you can't excuse it. You can't say, well, if this, if that. But there's definitely always space for a different result that may have occurred if something would have been different. But either way, and I digress. But that is, I believe, all we have for the UFC 321 Fight IQ podcast as far as the card breakdown goes. But we are going to move now to hot takes. If you're not familiar with this, we find a line that we think is juiced up a little too much, that the odds makers aren't given enough credence to, and we bring it to you, whether that's straight bets or whether that's parlays. And if you have a hot take there in the chat, put it up there. We will discuss it and put it on the board here. What about it, boys? What do we got in terms of hot takes?
Yeah, so I got one. It's pretty mild, honestly. It pays about 8-1, which is solid. I got Aspinall just straight up minus 345. I got Umar minus 5.5 points, and the Chris's take minus 135. If he wins by finish, he wins. He's going to need to get a 10-8 round in order to make that minus 5.5 work, but I think he can certainly do that. And then I got Volkov by KO. That's the longest shot on in the parlay. That's plus 300. So I'm looking at minus 345 on Aspinall, minus 135 on Umar, and plus 300 on Volkov. and that gets you to 7.98 per dollar. So I'm going to do that to win 1,000.
I like that. I like that your mild take is 8-1. That's pretty good.
Well, I mean, I know because I know Drake's going to throw something out that's like 30-1.
Yeah,
that's why it's mild take.
Not this time.
Oh, not this time. Okay.
Nope.
Let's hear it.
I have one single, and then I've got a three fighter parlay, and the single is just Chris Barnett by knockout. Which
somebody had to take it. Yeah,
you got it. I mean, he's just a highlight reel walking. The other one, it's just a simple parlay. It's Hack Pressed, Murzakanov, and Dern all to win, just straight up, and it pays plus 547.
Nice.
Not bad. What is the Barnett by knockout?
575.
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, it's not bad because if he's gonna win, it's probably gonna be by knockout.
I don't see him winning a decision, honestly. I really don't.
And if anybody's watching the World Series, Blue Jays did just tie the game. Bottom of the fourth here. So
Blue Jays.
Agreed.
You just don't like the Dodgers, or are you going for the? You really?
I don't like the Dodgers payroll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind the Dodgers because I feel like you have to root for Ohtani. It's like watching modern day Babe Ruth. So I like rooting for Ohtani.
I do like Ohtani. I've got nothing against him aside from him deferring his entire contract until 5 years from now. But whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So if we're shifting over to other sports, I have to shift over for a minute to the Spurs game.
Sure. Let's open it up.
I do need Dylan Harper to have a total of 15 points and assists.
He's kind of slacking.
Yeah, he's slacking. I've got a 4-leg same game parlay where I have 2 of the legs already in. I have Wendell Carter greater than 8 points. He's at 10 right now. I've got the Victor Wembanyama over 3.5 blocks. The guy's got like 5 or 6 already.
Yeah.
And then I have Dylan Harper. I need him to get 15 points plus assists. And if he gets that, then I go live into the Sacramento-Utah game. I got Walter Kessler, 11 plus points.
Oh, I love that all day.
Yeah, so I got 150 on that.
Yeah, Walker Kessler's a beast. I've been
but I need Harper though. If Harper doesn't do it, then it doesn't really matter because the bets are dead. But I actually had 4 free NBA $50 bets, and I put 3 of them on that parlay there. So we'll see what happens. Go Dylan Harper, baby. I couldn't pick the guy out of a police lineup, but let's go Dylan Harper. Where's Joey's hot take?
Yeah, I don't know. I might be having some technical difficulties. Just hang on 1 second there.
Joey said his hot take is that he might fade both title fights.
Oh wow.
Oh, nice.
And your hot take was Dern, Murzakanov, and Aspinall.
Hack-Pressed,
right?
Yeah. Okay.
Am I crazy to fade both title fights?
Oh, sorry, Joe. You reading that?
Okay. Female fight not scoring the best price tag. For DFS, I would certainly say that you're better off fading the female fight for DFS. I want Aspinall because I could see Aspinall getting a quick finish. I can see it going into the second round, but I can also see Aspinall getting a quick finish. And for that reason, I would not be as comfortable fading the heavyweight fight in DFS. I would be okay fading Dern Jandiroba because I see that as being potentially very low scoring.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm just gonna add on a quick hot take here. Ludwig Klein by knockout over Drake's boy there is plus 310. So there you go.
If you want to waste your money, go for it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time there, Drake. So if there's anything else in the chat, we are going to go once, twice, 3 times.
And wait, when's the next pay-per-view?
November 15th.
That's 3/22, right?
Yeah. I knew it's somewhere in November.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. So there you go. I don't think
it is the 15th.
Okay.
Yeah.
15th.
I don't think we know what's going on past the middle point of December yet, because when does the Paramount deal start?
At the end of the year.
Yeah.
So beginning of the new year.
Right.
the
So,
Paramount deal starts. So I think
I'm actually not sure what our role is going to be there because they're phasing out pay-per-views. So I don't know what the landscape is going to look like. I'm sure we'll do something, but
yeah, I mean, look, we can figure out like
Yeah.
what constitutes a pay-per-view.
Right.
Like, you know, by the number. So
Yeah.
like what we'll do is we'll just transition to any fight that's a numbered fight. Like
Yeah.
325, 326, you know, because they're still going to number the fights. The UFC, I
Sure.
don't think they're going to change.
Otherwise, it's fights with title cards, basically.
Yeah.
Exactly. We could do something like that. I mean, without a doubt. Okay, yeah, that'll totally work out.
Cool.
But all right,
Okay,
that
guys.
is going to be it for the Fight IQ UFC 321 preview show. Thank you all so much for watching. If you are watching, give us a like, give us a follow. It really helps the page there. We will be chatting on Twitter about the fights. And good luck to all of you with your fights and your picks. We will see you for the next one. And thanks again for watching.
Peace.